Hi guys, I'm back. So last night I didn't get anything stitched. That was the plan. I did this with you on the last video that you watched for this little series and I just didn't pick it up. So I thought, well, let's do some work now on it, and then I might happen to get to it tonight and I can start finish off the stitching. So I'm back and I have not done my homework. Been a very naughty girl. I just got busy. I actually started doing a few chores, and before I knew it, the evening had sort of come to an end and I was a bit weary. So I thought, no, I'm just going to leave it and come back to it. So what I'm thinking of doing is a white running stitch, I think, around this little house. I want to do something a little bit different to this one. If I did the Hessian, I think it'd look too similar. You know, the couching in of the Hessian cordage. So you're on that one there. So I'm thinking of just doing the classic running stitch. So I'll do a few little stitches with you guys and then I'll leave it at that, go and start my day. And then I'll be back at the end of this video with it completed and we might get started on the next bit. The other thing, when I walked back to my desk, I picked up this piece of fabric. Now it's the sister to this little blue door. It was just lying on the desk and I'm thinking I'm going to make that little house this blue fabric. So I might just pin that there in case it's a day or so. I don't think it will be, but we'll pin it there. It's got a lot of embroidery on this little guy. So I'm thinking if I have a nice dark fabric, I can then embroider in all of this detail. There's a lot of detail there. So it might be nice to do a completely different style of work there. We'll see. I haven't got that far. Let's just get one little house done at a time. And we're just doing this highlight stitch. Now, being that I'm here, I can jump across to the other side of the door, or we could put a running stitch up the side of that. I'm thinking I do want to put lace across there. I've still got me bits, but we might just do a running stitch straight up this. I feel like I'm a builder highlighting a house with trims. Or, the other thing these remind me of is when you make gingerbread houses. Gee, that's a dog leg stitch. I'm going to leave it because that's what happened the other day when I was doing those windows. I kept unpicking it and I just made the fabric really thin and potentially unraveling. So I'm going to leave it. Now I've jumped over here. I think all the stitching on that door will be the finer crochet cotton, number 8. Well, there's my little lacy bit. Let's keep that safe. I'm still thinking that it's going to be a pin cushion. I really want to get in here and do a lot of flowers, like over the top. Okay, so now let's whip along here. Okay, so now we're coming up this side. See how easy it is? Especially if you pick a nice, big, thick 4-ply. Even another name for it in some countries is sock yarn. My mate Marianne does a lot of crocheting and she makes the baby blankets and the teddies. That is too crooked. I can't. I can't let it go. Okay, I got sidetracked with a story. Yeah, Marianne does a lot of crocheting of baby blankets. She's a teacher, so she's within the school industry. So there's always a lot of mums having babies and things like that. So she uses a lot of sock yarn. And I think I was out op shopping, and that's when I spotted this, and she said, oh, I've got that at home as well. I use it. It's a beautiful yarn. I don't know the brand of it. It's quite soft, and it's a bit of an off-white, but not cream. So it makes for a great... Now let's get this straight, girl. That's better. If it's crooked when I finish this stitch, I'm not pulling it out, because that's when you start messing up your fabric. It's better. We'll plant a flower there. No one will know that it was crooked. Okay. And up there. Now, I've still got thread left, so I'm going to be cheeky and jump to the windows and get my big stitches into place. That one to there. Now I'm using the lines in the fabric to sort of keep me a little bit straight. But if they're wonky, doesn't matter. But I can, because it's linen, I can see the threads. So it's helping me keep. Must be a walker coming down a street with a puppy dog, because I can hear my two starting to get wound up. So they might woof, and I can hear dogs further up the street announcing the fact that there's a lady with a dog walking down the street. You know how dogs are like. They're like, here comes a walker. So now I'm putting the crossbars. And then I think I mentioned in the last video that if someone was rubbing their fingers over your work, feeling it, because that's always what happens. Everyone's drawn to the texture that we create. I'm actually going to put in some extra stitches over all of those to hold them down. I won't worry about the running stitch because they'll be fine. So I'm just going to end this off. And then I'm going to thread up with the crochet cotton. And I will couch down that window just with a couple itty bitty stitches. And that way it's nice and secure. And I won't be worried that it gets pulled. Even just packing your pieces up and taking it somewhere, you can catch those threads on a zipper or a needle head and create a pull. Might be just me as I shove things into bags and pull a thread. There we go. It's as simple as that. There we go. Love it. That'll hold that really nice. And then I'll have leftover thread that I can head to the door and stitch in some of the details that Susanna has on her design. It's coming together quite quickly. So it's a nice quick project. I guess depends on how much you do too. There we go. That little window frame is not going anywhere. You could even be really fiddly and put curtains in the window if you wanted. I'm not going to be that fussy. We're not going to go down the rabbit hole of curtains. So I might just bring the needle up on the door. Let's have a look at that door again. Okay, so it's like a barn door where you have an outer frame. So I might do I'll keep it real close to the edge, and I'll do a split back stitch so that we have a nice line and not a stitch where you can see where the needles come up and down. So I'm putting my needle through the previous stitch just to bury it in. It'll give me more of a straight line instead of it looking like a fiddly. So I give it a little massage and it all just blends together and you get a nice straight line. So let's just scoot down this edge here. That'll work out really well. So, and that all that detail can be stitched on. I might get to the bottom. Of that door frame. Oh, we're going okay for time. I might come up. I've got house guests at the moment, so it's possible they could all appear at once at the kitchen counter for breakfast. So, I might have to say, okay guys, bye. But at the moment, the house is quiet. So Corrine can sneak into her room and stitch. Gosh, we could play with some steps, like a path coming down into the garden. Well, that one's a crooked. Look, I've missed that stitch altogether. I'm trying to pierce the stitch previously. I've got a bit of a crowbar of a needle here. It's not doing me any favours. That's got it. So let's just finish this door. I've got just enough thread, I think. Oh, that's crooked. Is that crooked? Oh, it's all right. It'll be fine. It's a crooked looking house, so you know, let's not kid ourselves. The architect's a bit dodgy on this house. It's more like the painter. I think the painter's a bit on the dodge. Dodgy Brothers Incorporated is the name of the painters. And they're painting the trim and they're not too straight. Okay, oh, I've missed the stitch. Oh, it's so fine. I'm sort of working a little cack-handed at the moment too. But we won't complain. It's all okay. Just enough to finish this. All right. So that does a lovely little stitch around there. And I will do a bit more detail, like I said, when I get to the couch later. Okay, now let's have a look at the lace. Now we were talking about putting the lace on the guttering across the top of the little house. So all I do there is I get my good old cotton, grab my needle, and I'm just going to stitch it down. Now the question is, do we want it up or do you want it down? I think I want it down. I like that little and have a look at your design of your lace and where you're going to trim it, and just make sure that it makes sense. Now I haven't done the roof line yet. I'm probably putting the cart before the horse here a little, but it's all good. I just want to stitch the lace. I'll be able to sneak a few threads in there. So now I'm just going to use tiny little stitches to get that lace down and work my way, there's banded, work my way across the bottom there, securing it into position like so. Oh, imagine a Christmas village. You could stitch little lights onto it. Oh, that'd be sweet. Christmas theme one. Oh, there's an idea. Okay, nearly there, and that lace is in position. So it is simple. It's a little bit fiddly, but just take your time. Enjoy the process of stitching all your little bits and pieces on. Like so. Now I'm going to come up the side of that lace, because that'll get trimmed. So I want to know that it's just not going to unravel. So I'm going to just get some little stitches in there, like so. What I might do is, while I'm down this end, and for you all benefit, let's start couching on the twine. It'll be fiddly, but I'll give it a go. You probably should put the twine on first, but you know how it is. So we're just going to get it into position and stitch it in with some little stitches. It's fun using all these different mediums like twine and cordage and lace, and it's really fun piecing together your project. There's all sorts of little, like I was looking at the roof line on this quilt shop here. That's going to be fun to stitch. That'll be, you could do satin stitch, you could fill it full of French knots, endless. You could patchwork it with little squares of fabric. That'd be fun. You might even be able to find a fabric that has a pattern like that on there and cheat by laying that down. It's not cheating. I shouldn't say that. It's design, isn't it? Now my chimney is technically in the way, but what we'll do is we'll go up to the very edge I'm just going to put a couple extra stitches in this corner so that as I turn and start heading along the roof, it's nice and secure there, and it'll help me to pivot around that corner. And then we'll have a look at this chimney. Worst case scenario, we can remove it because it's just sort of sitting there. And then put it back on. Let's stitch right up to it and see what we think. I'll make a decision, because I can cut the twine. The thing with twine is it can get a bit furry looking. Maybe we can peel it back and tuck the twine in underneath and then re-adhere it. That's a possibility. Continue the twine and get the chimney. All right, so I'm right near it. I'm not going to cut the twine. I think it'll go all fluffy and it will look like, let's have a little, oh yeah, see that's barely holding anyway, so that's good. So let's get the twine stitched in behind like so. Where's my thread? Let's scoot in there. I might try and make it as flat as I can too, otherwise the chimney will have quite a bulbous look, but that too I'm not worried about, because that'll make the chimney sort of look like it is sitting away from the house a little. And as you look at a house with a chimney on the front, it's three-dimensional at the end of the day. But Susanna's design, the chimney is coming from behind the house. I'm being a little creative here and bringing the chimney to the front. So I've passed the chimney now and I'm out the other side, and I'll just keep couching down this twine. Probably won't have enough cotton to get to the end, but we'll see. Might make my stitches a little bit bigger, and then I can come back after I finish filming and just put a few extras in. So I might just jump. I can always, because I'll do the same with the lace. It needs, well, it might not. Sometimes just letting it sit up gives you that dimensional feel too, like it's, what's it remind me of? Like that ironwork that you see on those old Federation houses in Australia. You see it. I think it's Federation is the correct architectural name. I do apologise if I've just insulted historians of houses in Australia. All right, I'll just put a few extra stitches in that corner. Let's get rid of that pin. We'll bring back that lace as we shoot down the outer edge of our little cottage on the home straight. I love it. Just mixing up the fibres. Oh, it makes such a difference. And I haven't even started embroidering yet. The little house that I first did, I forgot to mention that the extension or the sunroom, see its perimeter? That's not Hessian, that's Appleton wool. I picked up a greeny olive wool thinking I'd do the tree trunk, which I still haven't done. and it was lying on my piece, and it just looked right there. So I've got a mix of the Hessian around the blue part of the house, the Appleton wool around the extension, and then the stitch across the roof line. So I've used 3 textiles or 3 threads to achieve my look, and I really like it. It sort of doesn't hurt to have that 3rd thread up your sleeve. Sort of starts making your piece look a little bit more interesting. I'm going to trim that lace because it's in my way, and then I can get this Hessian in behind and then stitch the lace over the top of it. And last little stitch on the Hessian. Oh, it's not Hessian. Sorry, guys. It is twine. So let's snip the twine off. Still got a lovely little piece. I've lost the needle 1 thread, of course. If I can just get a couple stitches in there, that'll hold it until I get back to it to really secure all of these little elements. You don't want it coming undone. And I am running out of thread. So I'll just get a couple stitches there. And then I'll fix that later with a bit more, because I want to get back to that chimney. And I'll show you what to do with your chimney next. Okay, now it has got a little frayed, so let's just trim those little bits off while we can. Oh, they're actually from underneath. And I might reapply the art glitter glue just because it's a very coarse fabric and I don't want it to disintegrate on me if I can help it. Especially if I start mucking around with it. There we go. She's back. She is secure. It's safe. Lid back on the glue. Now I'll just grab some of this. And I will stitch the chimney. Then I'm going to pause the video. I'll go away and finish the windows, finish the door. I will add the lace trim that we've got left over from trimming off this, stitch everything down, and it should be completed. Then in the next video, we'll work on the next house. Still thinking about, I've got glue on my fingers and it's making it very hard to thread the needle. Let's get a bigger needle. Do I have a bigger needle? There it is. That's the needle we want. Okay. Now with the chimney, as I did last time, I just did a perimeter of stitches. So just come up there, and then I went back and I couched it down too. I just sort of felt it needed to be nice and secure. So back over there, up to the top, and just like you're icing a cake, icing a gingerbread house, you're just outlining it with some frosting. When I did the first house and that piece of lace went across the top, my husband said, oh, is it a snowing scene? And I thought, is it a snowing scene? Which it wasn't intended to be, but it could be. You could be frosting the top of your little houses with lace to make it look like snow has landed. Be rather sweet. There's my little chimney. Oh, you adorable little thing. So I'm just going to knot that off. And that cotton will get me started on the windows again. And the windows have 2 bars going across. So I need to remember that. And like before, I'll couch down the thread so that it's, you know, not going to wriggle or be distorted by being caught. So I think that's enough to get you a bit of an idea of where I'm heading with it. So I've got myself some stitching. Hopefully I'll get to it tonight. I should do. You just never know. But I will pause the video. What are we, 30 minutes in? Oh, that's good, because then I can use the second half of the video time, the other 30 minutes. Let's go up the middle to do that there. So we'll have plenty to go on with. Let's scoot across. See how quick it is to do these little windows? They're great. I might just go up a little bit. I can hear people moving. I think my house guests are starting to stir. What's that saying? There was nothing to be heard in the house except for the mouses. I don't know. I don't know what the saying was. I think all the little rats are going to come out for breakfast. That's probably enough to do the next one. And then I'll thread up my needle. Actually, I think I have a scrap of that sitting to the side of me here. Yeah, I do. I've got a couple scraps over here of threads to do windows and couching, so I might just pop that there too. This is my crochet cotton number 8. Any brand, find the cheapest you can. And now I'm just going to pop a few little stitches over those big white ones just to hold it down. You could use a different coloured thread so that you make a highlight of it. This is sort of matching. I think once I get the lace on the bottom of the window and over the top of the door peak, I think it's going to look really sweet. And stitch in the detail that Susanna's drawn on that door. I like it. It's like those barn doors where the top would open, the bottom stays closed. Real English. She actually took some photos of gorgeous houses when she was in England, and that was her inspiration for the houses. I might see if I can get a copy of those photos, and I'll put them at the end of this video if I've managed to remember, and you'll be able to see. If I remember rightly, this house is definitely there, but it has the extension that's over here. And then you'll see this house as it stood in England when Susanna was visiting her family, and she spotted these houses, and that's how the whole idea came to be. There's these couple photos. So yeah, look for this one with the peaky front, but it has the extension of the sunroom, but that ended up over on this house down the street. But I'm pretty sure the one in the middle, this unusual looking one, you'll see the photos. It's got this big bay window of glass. It's very pretty. So yeah, I'll if I remember, I hope I remember, I'll send her a message and say, hey, can I pop up at the end of this video the pictures? She may have already shown them on. I'd say she would have. She'd be crazy not to, because they just look amazing. There we go. Window done. Now, being that I have crochet cotton on there, I could probably use that to stitch down the little lace edge. Let's have a look. It might be too chunky, but it would do. I should technically be using the cotton from the sewing machine, but it'll work. It's a perfect match, the colour. It'll hold it. So I'm just going to use that to put in some lacy details at the bottom of the windows. Oh, how cute. Well, now you're really getting a good view of what this little house will look like with all of its little bits. I can't put it down. I'm just keep going. Might end up just keep going, guys. Hopeless. See, there's the little detail. It's only ever subtle, but that's all you need, because they're little itty bitty windows. So technically, if you were looking at that in the street, you'd only see a little bit of it. So try and keep your lace components as delicate as you can, or as small as you can. There we go. She's coming together. Let's do this one too. I'll put the cotton on. I won't be lazy. I'll thread up the cotton. Line that up with there, that up with there, and stitch. There we go. That end had come adrift from the bottom part. So there's like little loops and it just come apart. So I'm just stitching it all back together so it looks like it's still joined. That is one of the trials of cutting lace up, because you can ruin the integrity of the lace. But nothing that a stitch cannot reinstate. There we go. So those two little windows are now completely done. Look at the time. We don't stop, do we? Goodness me. Looks like video 3 will be the other house. Who knows? There we go. I better leave it at that. I'll have nothing to do tonight. Would have done all my fun bits. That there needs a stitch on it. My thread just caught it. So So I might dodge down there next and just put a stitch in there. Now that I have this thread back on my needle, I should really just redo that roof too. Let's just go down here before I forget. All right, guys, I'm going to leave you in peace and say goodbye, and I'll be back in a few seconds to show you what I've done. Bye. Hello, everyone. I'm back. It's been a day or so since I filmed the section that we were just on a few seconds ago. So I'll bring you up to speed. I finished my 3 trees. Now, I have this scarf that has little pom-poms on the sides. See those? So I ended up taking off 4 of those and using those as my topiary tree. Now, the design that Susanna has underneath there is 3 little pieces to the tree. So I had to modify it slightly. So I've got 4 on my little tree, but I think it looks really cute. Really happy with that. It feels really nice to touch. This here is another little tree, and that just came off some lace. Now, where did I throw that scrap piece of lace? Let's see if I can see it. I was just about to pack up for the day and I spotted it out of the corner of my eye, and I thought, well, that'll work. Can't see it now. There's about an inch left of it. So I cut off one side. I just looked across at it and it just looked like, you know, trees in a row. It's a crochet edge. Actually, it's not a piece of lace. No, it's gone into the abyss that this little basket is. Yeah, no, it's gone. Is that it there? No, but sort of. So it's the edge off of one of those table runners and the piece going up. Yeah, this is sort of it, but this is a finer version. See how there's lines of stitching there? I just cut off one of those lines to make it look like a tree. So, but it was more heavy duty. I don't know. It's gone into the abyss. So that's that little one. And this guy was tricky because he had a real wind to him and I could not find anything to suit. So I ended up using some seam binding and stitching it down. And then as I went up the tree, I ruched it. And as the tree underneath wound, the black mark of where Susanna's tree was, I sort of just manipulated this sideways a little bit to cover my little tree. So it's a ruched look. When I got to the top of the tree, I twisted it. See, I just gave it a little twist to get that point to the top of the tree. So I do have to do the, not stumps, the what do you call it? The trunk of all of the trees. That one over here, and that one and that one. What else have I done? The next thing I did is I had a bit of time and I wanted to do some stitching but save this for you guys. So I started thinking about the fence. In my head I wanted it white, but it just wouldn't work with the background. So I decided to dig in my blues and I found a crochet cotton that I'd picked up somewhere. So it would be, I don't know, I don't even think it's 4-ply. To me, that feels a little bit thinner than that. And it's perfect to lay down in a couching style. Couch it down. And then I found this little guy to couch it actually down. So that's what I've decided to do for the fence. And I'm really happy with the way it come up. So I'm going to just continue along until that's finished. Now, before we get into that, I just want to show you the photos. I was talking about the photos that Susanna used for inspiration. They'll be at the end of the, let's see if I can get this up. There we go. They'll be at the end of the video, but if you have a look at this house, it's the inspiration for these two. And on the side of the photo, you'll just make out a lean-to, like a sunroom. There. It's an extension. But the doorway is this one. Isn't that gorgeous? So as soon as I saw the photo and saw that little blue door, I thought, well, I have to do a little blue door. So that's why I made the decision for the blue door. Now the next picture, this is the next house. So there's like a roof section through here, glass, and then the door and the window. So that's really helped me to break this area up. So my thoughts now are there'll be a solid colour in there. Maybe even this guy will pop up again. Yeah, and then I'll stitch that thatched roof, and then do the windows and some trim top and bottom. So that's that little house, and that's the next one. What else did she have here? Oh, yeah. Oops, let's get rid of this photo. That photo there is the inspiration for the cottages down the bottom, the shops. There we go. That there is all of this, where she's just manipulated it. And this one is probably truer because you can see the line at the back of the house, that roof line there. Look how wonky it is. Isn't that gorgeous? There's the roof coming through here. I think that's all of it. Oh no, that was one that she just loved, but it didn't make it into the actual design. Isn't it amazing? So, all classic wisteria. All you girls that are in the UK, lucky, lucky girls. Look at all the beautiful, beautiful things. Oh, so those photos will be at the end for you to have a little look. So all I want to do next is I've cut out this. So we're ready to go. We now need to get it onto the fabric. Now I had this chosen, but that's all I got. I searched and searched. I went through my whole bundle and I thought, well, how does that happen? How come I've only got a little bit left? So I must have really used it in the Christmas project. I know it would be one of my favourites, but it's all good. Doesn't matter. When I went through my stash to see if I had a scrap or something, I found this fabric. It's from some time ago, and it's actually got little wheat leaves printed on it. It's a bit of a memory, actually. I made my mum a quilt out of this with some browns and blues, and oh, it's just so pretty. It was an embroidery pattern. I think it was, is it Bare Roots or Barefoot? Bare Roots patterns. And it was all these little floral embroideries, and then I stitched them all together to make a quilt for a bed. And it's so pretty, if I do say so myself. So it'd be nice to have this actually in my piece on my desk. Bit of a memory. It's funny how fabrics, you pick them up and you may not have touched them for 20 odd years, and then suddenly you have a memory of where they've come from. So I've cut my little piece out. I'm just going to make sure it's going to cover all the necessary lines. Yeah, that's pretty good. It's a bit wonky at the top there. I'll bring it over a bit. How did we get that so wonky? And that little tree will tuck in there. Just needs a little angle adjustment. That's better. Yeah. Very good. So, where's my glue stick? There it is. Just put. Now remember, if you're doing this and you only have one of these, you need to draw out all of the shapes before you start covering. But I'm lucky enough that Susanna has sent me a second one. So, whoops, nearly glued the wrong thing down. So I'm going to forge on and use another version of this to get the rest of the shapes. Just want the trees to just peek around the front of the house. Be good. Makes it look like they're sitting slightly forward in the garden and not tucked behind the house. That's better. All right, now I might just, while we're at it, put a little sneaky bit of art glitter glue on those edges, just to, not that that edge really matters because there'll be some form of lace coming down there. There's some sewing thread stitched into that piece of scrap from when I made the quilt. Probably should leave it there as a memory, shouldn't I? Yeah, I will. Just leave it. So there's when I must have been doing some stitching of it together, this offcut has a little piece of thread through it. Leave it there. I'm getting nostalgic now. Getting all sooky. Okay. So hopefully by the next video I've decided whether I'm doing a big panel or the pincushion. And this last sort of bit of stitching will finish it off, finish this fence, stitch in my little house. Let's put the lid on the glue before I start yabbering away. Okay, now the door. I'll just grab the other panel so we can have another look. We need something for the roof. So I might trace out this roof first. And there's like a lacy bit there and a lacy bit there, as in lace can go there to sort of build up the layers of this little roof. Where did my pencil get to? How quickly our creative space just explodes into a mess. There it is. So let's just sketch in the little roof. So there's lace on the top of this roof edge and then lace on the window edge at the top. Okay, so let's cut out this little guy. So I'll be stitching with white thread like the other houses. Let's get rid of our scraps. And I might, let's trace while we're here the door. And I'll just go a little higher so it tucks under that roof. And the window, the door and the window is what we want. One window. at least the surround of the door. No, it is the door. And then I'll stitch. Stitch into it, and there's our little roof. Okay. So I'd advise that you do this prior to gluing everything, of course, because you probably only have the one piece. So let's have a little look. So we need a roof, and then the window sits on top of that. We have a door, and it sits there. I've still got house guests, and I think one is about to appear. So she's going to be looking for some toast, but no, she's gone off and she's doing something else. So we've got our window in position. Now it's just a case of picking some fabric that suits this. I really wanted a blue little house. And I think the other day I mentioned that I'd seen this scrap. It's a shame to cut in there. I really, really like it. Maybe I can do a small, I need it to be plain, I think. I think that might make a nice door. This is, I think, going to work. I like the stripe. We can utilise the stripe and that little bit of white, I think. So let's cut that out and see if it's a little bit on the crooked side. Crooked door. It's an old house, all right. My friend's making a cup of tea, so she's occupied. I can keep going. There we go. There's one door, and then once I enhance that with some stitching, I think that will work. Oh, she's even getting herself some cereal. Look, she's fully trained. She's only been here a couple of days. I told my mates that they might get out of bed one morning and find me talking to myself, not to panic. So with the window at the top, I will just sketch in with a pen, a white pen, or at least something I can see where that all is, the glass work. This little window, I'm just going to use, again, the same as I did before. This little bit of calico. Oh, it's not calico. It's actually more heavy duty than calico, but calico would be my next preference due to the colour. One little window. Crooked as hang once again. Gee, I'm crooked today, aren't I? I'm usually not this bad. And then I'll just check. Yeah, that'll work. This stuff really needs that glue. So it just frays really easily. That'll just keep it safe so it doesn't just unravel on me. There we go. Lovely. The little window is in position. It's really fun with the embroidery because you really start to embellish your piece. Now we've got this little cute roof, and I'm thinking that mustard just to break things up a little bit. Oh, this is great. I've got plenty of stitching to do today now. I've actually got the day off. I have nothing planned. I am going nowhere. I did walk down the hallway with a basket of washing, But I seem to have put it down, got detoured in to say hello to Fudge and give him his breakfast. And I didn't go back to get that basket of washing. It is still sitting at the top of the hallway. I got sidetracked. We'll blame Fudge. I need to get my angles a bit better here. This is a bit how's your father, isn't it? Doesn't matter if it's wonky. Those houses are wonky. You often see them in photos and you can see the roof line is all wavy. I guess when they're all heritage listed like that, you just got to do what you can to preserve what you can. Yeah. Last piece. Okay, concentrating there. Did you hear it? Cover the windows ever so slightly. Or the window. There we go. That's pretty good. Happy with that. Then I should have a white pen somewhere. I might have to go digging for it. Oh yeah, here it is, I think. Just got to be careful I don't use the paint pen. Put the glue. And then all I'll do next is sketch in. Let's get that nozzle in there. Sketch in where the glass. So I'm finished with those. I need a little ruler. It'll just be a guide. I'll pretty much wing it anyway. It's a bay window, so I'm going to attempt I bet there's no I bet this is dry, this pen. I think it is. Okay, well that's the end of that. Pen is all dry. Need a new pen. I'll find something somewhere. It's a shame it's dark blue because that's a real challenge. I'll also go hunting for an edge of something to go up through there for the roof. Oh, it is working. It did. Hang on, hold your horses. So these bay windows, there's a bit of a slope. I don't know if I'll be able to capture that. It's one of those chalk pens that as it dries, it reveals itself. It's like magic, isn't it? You just got to wait a moment. Let me zoom in. If you wait a moment, whatever the moisture is in this, it's probably a, doesn't say. See how it appears? So we've got to get, oh, I'm no architect. So if you didn't cover Susanna's window, you'd have all the guidance you would need, but of course, the girl has gone off on another tangent. I think I might have got it. Here comes the lines. This is like a big window at the front, then two side windows, then the little top. Yeah. I think once that stitches, I'll be able to get that. Then there's some little lacy bits across there. So she's got a, no, I didn't get that. I've got it all crooked there. So I've got to come higher to get that shape across the top. Luckily this pen comes out in soapy water, so if it all goes pear-shaped, I think that will work, but I've always wanted to be an architect, so I may have just altered. I think that I need that there, that there, that there, and that, and that. Is that it? Magic, here it comes. I think we got it. Yes, we got it. Now, being that house has timber holding those panes of glass, Susanna hasn't given that detail. She's kept it nice and simple to stitch. But I might, if I can, do a little bit of thicker embroidery where the timber would have been. Where's the photo of the house? Where is she? There she is. See what I mean? There's actually a lot of white timber around it, and then very fine window panes. So I might play with that. I don't have a lot of space, so it might all get too heavy. So I need to be a little bit careful of that. Okay, that's it. We are ready to go. We have a little house ready to stitch. I can also carry on with my fence, and I've got the whole day to do it. And like I said, my washing is in a basket somewhere in the hallway. I probably should go and find it, at least put on one load. That would be something, but no rush. No rush. All right, guys, let me zoom up a little bit. I hope you have a lovely day, and I hope you get a chance to do some stitching and even a load of washing. All right, guys, look after yourselves. Bye.